is the environment that I have set up around me, within me, conducive to the life that I want to embody within myself and without myself in the world? Am I doing the things that make me feel good? Am I doing the things that fill my cup? What are my distractions, and do they serve me? I got my coffee and I got my camera, so it's going to be a good day. This is Ari's Overshares, the series in which I, your host Ari, overshare on all matters of the heart, matters of the mind, and matters of my life. And before we jump into the topic of today's video, I did just want to take a few minutes to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the overwhelming support and love on my last video talking about my disordered eating habits and something that I struggled with on Thanksgiving. That video blew up for me. This is a very small channel, and first of all, I want to say that I'm sorry that so many people relate to the things that I was saying in there, because I recognize fully from my own journey that none of that stuff is easy. It's a lot, and it's really, really hard. And so the first thing that I want to do is express my solemnness that you're there with me. But on the other side of that, the flip side to that coin is that both for me, and I hope for everybody who came across that video and saw other people in the comments talking about their own struggles and how they relate, that you're not alone, that none of us are ever alone. And so it really was positively overwhelming for me to just get that much support and that much love showered over a very, very sensitive subject for me, something that I don't really feel comfortable talking about. But because the support was so strong, and because I could see that there's such a community that needs to be formed around discussing that topic, I am planning on making more videos talking about my disordered eating habits, my eating disorder journey, how it all started, things that I'm working on to alleviate it, to reduce it, to keep it under control. And so I wasn't prepared to talk about that for this week's video, but my goal is that next week, next Sunday, when my next video goes live, it will be another discussion about disordered eating and eating disorders and things of that nature. So hopefully you can stick around if you're a new subscriber that came from that video, and you enjoy the rest of the content and the rest of the videos and the things that I discuss on here, whether or not they have to do with eating disorders in the future. Now, all of that to say, let's get into the topic of today's video. So earlier this week, I went on a work trip. I flew out to Los Angeles. It was a quick trip. I was only there for a couple days. We had some business to do in the second half of the week, and then I extended out my stay so that I could see some friends and family and people that I don't often get to see because I live on the other side of the country. Now, the flight to Los Angeles from where I live is about 5.5, 6 hours. It's pretty long. It's long enough where you're fully disconnected from everything that's going on in the world outside of that plane, right? Your phone's on airplane mode. You're not getting texts. You can't scroll. You can't go on the internet. You can't do all these things unless you pay for Wi-Fi, which I would never do on a flight. So these hours on a plane tend to be really productive for me because there's literally nothing else that I can do. There's nowhere that I can go. There's nowhere else that I can be. I'm stuck in a tiny little seat with no access to the outside world. I'm totally disconnected from everything. And when I'm disconnected from everything, all I think to do or want to do is to alleviate the fact that I'm disconnected and I'm bored and do something. And that something ends up being really meaningful work. I end up getting locked in a flow. I end up working on something like really productive for me, whether that's reading or writing or listening to music and being fully present to my tunes. Like yesterday when I flew back, I was just jamming to my new playlist that I had, and I was literally vibing in my seat, and the people around me probably thought that I was nuts, but I was just like, you know what, I've got nothing else to do but be happy and be fully present in this moment. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. And on my flight out to Los Angeles and on the flight back, I wrote a pretty good amount in my memoir. Well, when I say good amount, I don't mean necessarily like the quantity that I produced in terms of words and output or whatever. Like my results were more than what I necessarily do when I'm here and I'm just sitting in the library. But I stayed with it, and I was more focused, and I was less distracted, and I wasn't looking up and trying to kind of zone out or letting myself get unfocused, because again, when you have nothing else to do and you have no distractions to get distracted by, you just go in. And that's what I want to talk about today, because the world is full of distractions. And I don't think the word distraction necessarily is a bad thing. I think it oftentimes gets a poor connotation because we hear distraction and we hear, okay, something pulling you away from something else. But plenty of things are wonderful and beautiful and still distractions. If I need to get a lot of quiet work done, if I need to be ultra productive and a coworker walks to my desk, they've now distracted me. But building a relationship and a rapport with my coworker is important, and maybe what they had to share with me is important, right? If I want to write in my book, or I want to have quiet time on a Sunday morning like today to read, and I forget to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, or I forget to put it on airplane mode, and a friend sends me a text and it goes ding, and I open my phone because I have no self-control, or I'm so distracted by thinking, whoa, what was that text about? Like, do they need me? Was it important? Who is it? Totally is going to pull me out of the flow anyway, so I might as well check it at that point, right? And maybe my friend just texted me to say, hey, I love you, I'm thinking of you, and I hope you're well. Or maybe my friend said, hey, if you're not doing anything later, I'd love to see you. Building a rapport with my friend, getting emotionally connected to my friend. That was a distraction in that moment, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. You know what I mean? So distraction as a concept isn't inherently good or bad. I think there are cases when we get distracted for good things, and there are cases when we get distracted for not so good things. And it's really contextual, and it depends on what we're doing in the moment. But despite all of that, allowing yourself to be distracted is a choice. And it's a choice not unlike how choosing focus is a choice. Let me explain. When I'm on a plane and my phone's on airplane mode and I'm in the sky and I have nothing to do but pull out my phone and listen to music or write or read or do something that tends to be a little bit more productive, because a lot of my distractors that keep me from that important good work, that deep work, tend to be fillers like Instagram or YouTube or entertainment based or distractions, right? When I'm on a plane and I'm there, I have no choice really but to be productive. I have no choice but to do the things that I know honor me, that fill my soul. Because there aren't so many distractions that I have to consciously fight, it's easier to just get into that workflow. That's what I realized on the plane. It's easier for me to sit down and open my laptop and start writing these heavy stories in my memoir, because I am not thinking, oh, it's so much easier if I just don't do that and I just lay down and I just watch YouTube. Like, YouTube's not a choice. So that insidious, self-defeating, self-sabotaging thought isn't able to effectively trickle into my brain, right? I'm just going right from I'm bored to I should do something about this. And that means that I'm jumping from A to B, not writing to writing on a very fast, streamlined path. And that's what makes it so easy. And when I get distracted or the writing is hard on that plane, it was a lot easier, a lot more palatable for me to just take a breath in, look out the window for a second and say no, and just come back and press the keys down and just keep writing, because I didn't have something to distract or to fill in that me being pulled out of focus, me looking for something to save me from that hard work. So it's real easy for me to be on a plane and to be undistracted and to be focused and to get good work done. And that's something that I think a lot of people share, right? I think a lot of people have said that before, like, I do my best work on planes because I have nowhere to go. I think I read an article once about this guy who was just like, yeah, I literally will just book really cheap flights to random places because I know that no one can grab me and I can just get my work done, which is highly inefficient and super expensive. So I know that that's not the case for everybody. I mean, like, I definitely couldn't do that, though that would be really cool. What I realized on that plane is that it was really easy for me to embody the version of myself that I want to be. I need to do a better job, or I can do a better job of limiting the distractions in my outside life when I'm not on a plane. When I just walk to the library and I need to get my stuff done, or it is a Sunday morning and I'm laying on the couch and the TV remote is right next to the book. And it is a lot harder to choose the book when the book is right next to the TV remote. And so what we have to do in life is work so hard on limiting those distractions. And that is a lot of work. I admit that is hard work, that the things that distract us, we're drawn to them for a reason, right? They make us feel good. They might counteract or serve a trade-off to a greater good or to something that we should be doing instead, but they still make us feel good. It feels good to lay down and to just veg out and watch TV on the couch. And I don't think there's anything bad with that. I think you need to manage it in doses. But again, there's nothing bad with that or wrong with that. You just need to become the agent in your life who says, what are the distractions that I'm most susceptible to? What are the things in my environment, in my digital environment, on my phone? Do I have my notifications turned on? Can I see the number of texts or the number of Instagram DMs that I have? Have I shut all of that stuff off? Is my phone on Do Not Disturb? Is it in a focus mode? Is it on airplane mode so I can't see if I get a text? What is the quality of my digital environment? What is the quality of my outside environment, right? Where is the TV remote in the living room compared to where the books are? I have on my, you probably can't see it. I mean, you definitely can't see it. But on my coffee table right behind me, I have 15 books right there. And the TV remote is on the mantle right next to the TV. And so I have to walk to the TV mantle to grab the remote to sit down and get to the couch. And that seems really maybe like trite. That seems maybe like really like a stupid, lighthearted example. But just because it's lighthearted and it didn't require a lot of work, it doesn't mean that it's not effective. It's extraordinarily effective. When you have no other place to go, when you have no choice but to devote yourself to where you are, you go in. And it is a lot easier to go in and to do the work that matters. Go in. Learn your distractors. Learn your environment. Become aware, situationally aware, environmentally aware of who you are in different circumstances and situations and scenarios. And ask yourself, is the environment that I have set up around me, within me, conducive to the life that I want to embody within myself and without myself in the world? Am I doing the things that make me feel good? Am I doing the things that fill my cup? What are my distractions, and do they serve me? And if they do serve me, how do they serve me? When do they serve me? Why do they serve me? How can I reduce them so that I'm still able to get the things done during the day that are ultra important to me? And it doesn't need to be about writing a memoir. It doesn't need to be some grand or mega thing. Not that I think I'm super cool or grand or mega for writing a book. It's going to take a long time before this thing is finished, let me tell you that. But if you just need to do your laundry, or you need to, put the dishes away, doing those things in an environment that's less distracting is going to help you get them done quicker. And then maybe you can just get it all done and rip the Band-Aid, and it's super easy, right? It is really easy, almost stupidly easy, to be productive in a distraction-free environment. But we do have the agency to create a world around us and a world inside of us that is as distraction limited as possible. And maybe there's an energetic cost to doing that at the front. Maybe, definitely, there's a little bit of an energetic cost to maintaining that environment, to making sure that when I finish watching TV, that I still put the TV remote back on the mantle, and to make sure that I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb, or if I'm feeling extra susceptible to wanting to use it as a crutch or to distract myself with it, then either shutting it off entirely, or in some instances, I just leave it at home because I don't have the self-control or the willpower to deny that distraction. So just be really mindful of the life that you're setting up for yourself and the way that you're living. And if you do that, I think you'll end up feeling a lot clearer in the head and lighter and really good, because you'll be getting more things done than maybe you were before you had done that. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you for being here with me. And again, from the bottom of my heart, for the outpouring of support on my last video. I'm actually really excited to sit down and record more content around my disordered eating and that journey and how it all started. But yeah, I guess the last thing that I want to say on that is, this is a really small YouTube channel, obviously. I have been making videos for 2.5 years, and I just hit 600 subscribers. And I love this style because this is me and this is my personality, but it's not necessarily, clickbaity, and it's not necessarily sensationalized. And so I don't grow super quickly. And I've made a conscious choice over and over again to not get hooked by like the little reels that I've made about my motorcycle that did really well. I'm like, nah, that's not me at the heart. What me at the heart is making videos like these, and that I made a video that is just like what I want to make, and it did really well, and a lot of people saw it, and it felt seen by a lot of people, and a lot of people felt like they could connect to it, and it's got me amped. It really does. It's filled my cup and my soul so much, and I cannot wait to make more videos on that, to meet the interest in that topic and that conversation from a place of an open heart and a place that really feels like it does truly honor me. So thank you again, and I'm excited to talk more about all of that with you, and then probably process emotional wounds and struggles that maybe I haven't been super open about with myself just yet. So that's going to be really good. But that's it for this week. I love you so much. Have a lovely week, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.